I'm so happy to have you here. One last final round of applause for the end of lunch with scientists.
All right, welcome everybody. My name is Damie Stewart, and yes, my mom is Amy Stewart, Miss Stewart. She's KCMS, Yearbook, COCO, digital media teacher. So I'm sure you all know her in some way or another. And I'm really excited to be here today to share a little bit about my story and a little bit about myself with you all today, and about the oceans and the problems that face our oceans and how all of you can help. So first of all, I am a junior and I attend CHS. And the summer between my freshman and sophomore year, I was fortunate enough to participate in a semester at sea for high schoolers. It was about a 3-week program. I sailed on a tall ship. As you can see here, this is the SSV Robert C. Seamans, with 13 other students from all around the country, from San Francisco to Catalina Island, covering over 1,000 miles. We, the students, stood watch, we handled the sails, steered the ship, checked the ship every hour. We worked in the engine room and just did every single thing on the ship that there was to do. The deckhands didn't keep us from doing anything. It was all of us. So we worked alongside the deckhands, first and second mates, and all the scientists. In addition to all the sailing we did, we also conducted lots of scientific research. And there were 2 labs aboard the tall ship. There was a wet lab and a dry lab. The wet lab is where we would analyze organisms we found in our net tows, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. And we would also, in the dry lab, is where we had all of our delicate technology and where all the data was stored, and we would record things on the computers. Experiments were happening 24/7. If it was 2 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock at night, no matter what, 24/7, something was going over the side of the boat to catch something. We had many different net tows we did, where we would maneuver a large net off the side of the ship, and we would drag it in the water at different depths using weights to collect different specimens at the depths we wanted. We had many different sizes and types of nets depending on the type of tows we did. The one in the top, I tried to give it perspective, but if I were to stand in the net, I wouldn't touch either side. It would be about 1 foot on either side of my arm. So that's how big it was. And then the other one, about this big. It was very small. So we also had a mechanism for collecting water samples at various depths. It was programmed to open and close different tubes at specific depths we wanted, so we could see whatever was in the water, whatever we were looking for at the given depths. We also had this big claw-like mechanism that would allow us to grab some sediment down at the bottom of the ocean to collect samples. This allowed us to examine the type of seafloor we had, whether it was sand, rock, or muck. And sometimes we even found little creatures in our sediment grabs, and that was always really exciting. That's in the bottom right. That's a little creature we found, a little sea biscuit. But one thing that really surprised me was the amount of garbage we saw floating in the water as we were sailing. And especially the amount of plastic we found in our net tows, from large bits to microscopic bits. Come on in. And every single net tow we had, there was a piece of plastic. Every single time. Now, the ship I was on was just recently out on a voyage near Hawaii, and during the time, they completed 118 net tows. And during that time, they counted 69,566 pieces of plastic. And they were only at sea for 36 days. That is a huge amount of plastic. I cannot even convey to you how much plastic that is. And they were only in a very small percentage of our world's oceans. And they collected about 2,000 pieces a day. Plastic and trash are in all of our oceans. Now, at the end of my voyage, we studied for a week at the Wrigley Marine Science Center on Catalina, where we compiled all our data from the voyage, and we also collected more right on the island. After my tall ship adventure, I was continually trying to find a way to help our oceans and educate others about the problems facing our oceans, and just how everyone can help and be involved. I continued participating in monthly beach cleanups with the local Rotary Club, there once a month, down right at Center Beach. And it's been something I've been doing ever since I learned to walk. I've always been cleaning the beach. But last year, I discovered a new way to make a real difference. I'm an active sailor, as some of you may know and some of you don't know me. I race all around the country, and I started noticing this colorful logo on sailing instructions at the bigger races. And the logo that was on all the instructions was this logo, Sailors for the Sea. And it appeared, as I said, on the sailing instructions. It also appeared on water bottles we would sometimes receive. But I realized I knew almost nothing about Sailors for the Sea, except that they handed out free water bottles, and I was really happy about that. And many of my fellow sailors didn't know either, and honestly disregarded the water bottle and just threw it away. So I decided I wanted to do more research on this company. Sailors for the Sea, turns out, is an ocean conservation group based out of Rhode Island. And it's actually not just any conservation group. Sailors for the Sea is a leading organization for conservation that engages, educates, and inspires the sailing and boating communities to heal the ocean. Sailors for the Sea sponsors a movement that is a voice of action for boaters and provides opportunities to make a real difference. Sailors for the Sea sponsors specific regattas that sign up. A regatta is a sailing race, for those of you who do not know. And they spread the message about ocean conservation, plastics, and what we can do to help. So I found this idea really exciting, and it spoke to me, and I wanted to find a way to get involved. So I contacted them. I told them, I really want to help. I love what you're doing. How can I help? And they told me, here's a few tips we can have, and let's just see what you do. And after I did a bit of work for them, they were really excited to have a junior sailor on the ground working for them at regattas. So after giving me a few tips, I became the West Coast ambassador for Sailors for the Sea. I represent them on the ground at regattas. I speak to different yacht clubs and schools about ocean conservation and the reason Sailors for the Sea exists. And I try to educate as many people as I can all the time. And not only sailors, students like you, to help save our oceans and see what you can do to make a difference. So, as I said, I register regattas as clean regattas. This is the type of thing that Sailors for the Sea sponsors. And I help them try to make the regatta clean by, there's different programs. You can eliminate all the paper, you don't print anything, you can eliminate plastic water bottles. There's many different ways to do it. And I have a few facts that I would now like to share with you. An average of 35 billion plastic water bottles are thrown away in the United States every year. Over 100,000 marine mammals and 1 million seabirds die annually from ingesting or becoming entangled in plastic. Plastic in the ocean breaks down into such small segments that fragments from a single 1-liter water bottle could end up on every mile of beach throughout the world. Just recently, the Associated Press reported that 8.8 million tons of plastic go into the ocean, and more than half comes from 5 nations, with China being the largest contributor. And the US actually ranks 20th on this list. The ocean contains 99% of the planet's living space. 90% of all volcanic activity occurs in the oceans. The top 10 feet of the ocean hold as much heat as the entire atmosphere. Currently, scientists have classified about 1.5 million species, and it is estimated that there are as many as 5 million more to be discovered. 50 to 80% of all life on Earth is found under the ocean's surface. The blue whale's tongue weighs as much as an adult elephant. Ms. Jensen will really like that fact. The pressure at the deepest point in the ocean would be equivalent to one person supporting 50 jumbo jets. And the Earth's longest mountain range is the Mid-Ocean Ridge, which is 4 times longer than the Andes, the Rockies, and the Himalayas combined. So, what a fascinating and largely unexplored and important part of our world the oceans are. It's really incredible. Now, I have a simple message that I always share when I speak, whether it be regattas, schools, anywhere. If I'm just talking with somebody, I will always say this. And it will help everyone make a difference. It's simple, and it's 3 steps. Eliminate single-use plastic water bottles. Use only reusable water bottles. This is my water bottle I carry everywhere. I have about 3 of them. I use them when I sail. It goes with me everywhere. Commit to picking up 2 pieces of trash every day for the rest of your life. That's 730 fewer pieces of trash in our ocean each year per person. Convince your friends to do the same. While one person can make a difference, what if multiple people did these 3 simple steps? It would be huge. Now, if 10% of American voters, just have voters in this example, stopped using single-use plastic water bottles for 1 year, that would reduce our carbon footprint as much as planting 500,000 trees. And that's just voters. A very, very small percentage of the world's population. What if everyone took this pledge to stop using plastic and do the 3 simple steps I told you? Billions of people picking up trash every day. Can you imagine that? It would be huge. Now, did you know that when you reduce the amount of plastic you buy, you also reduce your carbon footprint? Did you know that? Yeah? Awesome. So, I recommend that you use glass or stainless steel for leftovers instead of plastic, because everybody has leftovers. I use leftovers for lunch. That's my favorite lunch in the world. And I always have my little reusable container. And the ocean's chemistry is changing. What is the result? Coral reefs are dying, and skeletons of sea creatures aren't forming like they used to. Ocean acidification threatens over 1 million species. So there are many reasons that we need to study the ocean. The ocean supports human life. Ocean currents stabilize Earth's temperatures, and they absorb 1/3 of the carbon dioxide generated by humans. Fish account for 20% of animal protein consumed by humans as well. Human actions have been very harmful to the ocean, and we need to help repair and stop these harmful actions. Due to humans, most fisheries have become overfished. The weight of garbage dumped into the ocean is 3 times the weight of the fish being caught. As oceans become more acidic, threatening corals and shellfish and plankton, the plankton are the base of the food chain, which causes a negative effect on all the rest of the animals up the food chain. And sea level is expected to rise almost 1 meter in this current century, harming coastal wetlands and forcing humans to evacuate from the low-lying islands. So you can make a difference with these issues. You can all help change the world and save our oceans. It's very simple. Okay, I have a very quick experiment for you. And please, if you can't do this, I want you to breathe. Don't hold your breath the whole time if you can. But I want you to take a deep breath and hold it while I talk. So everybody take a deep breath. The oxygen you inhale is absorbed by the blood and carried throughout your body. Meanwhile, carbon dioxide is carried back to your lungs and is released. But wait, keep holding your breath, I'm not done yet. Your lungs will ache and keep you from exhaling. Trigger impulses from your brain will signal your body to ensure normal respiration. The trigger, the urge to breathe, is not caused by the lack of oxygen in your body, but rather a buildup in carbon dioxide and a change in your body's pH. Okay, you can all breathe now. I tried to talk quickly, I didn't want you all to get all blue in the face on me here. So, much like your body just experienced that stress you were under, the ocean's pH is dropping. This drop places the stress on the ocean and inhibits just as you experienced. So the oceans are feeling the stress you just felt. And I want to thank you all for your interest in ocean conservation and attending today. I hope you enjoyed it. And does anybody have any questions? If you want to think of some, I have one quick thing I would like you all to do. Does anybody have any phones or tablets with them? Okay, I want you to take them out. You can take them out. It's okay.
Wait, turn it on.
Yes, you can turn it on. You are going to need to access the internet. And if you can't do this now, I hope you all do it at home. So I want you to take your phone and tablets out and go to sailorsforthesea.org and take the NT3 pledge. No trails, no trash, no trace. So in this pledge, you will commit to saving and helping our oceans, reducing your carbon footprint. So anybody need any help finding it? I can. No. Okay. If you don't have a phone, please go home. Type this into your computer. It's a little tab that says NT3 pledge. Yes.
Go home right now?
No, not now. Does anybody have any questions though? While other people, you can maybe share phones so you can all sign up. Yeah, what can we do for you?
So, what exactly does Sailors for the Sea do? So, I know they're trying to help the oceans.
Yes.
But do they have events?
Yes. So, Sailors for the Sea is an organization I said that's considered in ocean conservation. So, there are regattas all around the world, and we sponsor them. Regattas will sign up through Sailors for the Sea and say, I want to be classified as a clean regatta. They'll take a couple steps, here's my regatta, here's how many people I'm gonna have, here's the location and all that. And then they go through the step, and it's called, you sign up for what you want to try to reduce. So I signed up a couple regattas this last month saying, okay, our goal is we're gonna reduce all plastic water bottles. We're gonna have refilling stations. So they set points that they're gonna try to achieve to reduce their footprint. So then they sponsor it and we advertise. I don't know if anybody knows Volvo Ocean Race. It's a race around the world. They just stopped in Newport and Sailors for the Sea was sponsoring it. And so, you know, there was recycling, there was water refilling stations and all that. But they also do sponsor a couple events, but they're mostly on the East Coast just because they're based out of Rhode Island. Actually, this is a brand new logo. This used to be the old logo. And they have a bunch of new sayings now. And worth your salt is one of their new sayings. So worth your salt, there's a lot of history that goes into it. It kind of goes back to the Romans, actually. And in that time, salt was very, I don't know if you don't want a history lesson, we'll give it really fast. Salt was very important, and salt was used in health, to preserve food. So they would pay them so then they could get your salt. So it was, are you worth your salt? Are you worth what you do? So worth your salt for Sailors for the Sea, are you worth your salt with what plastic you're spending? Are you doing what you can to save our oceans? That's a really good question. I like it.